Alright, let's start another stream. I want to script the ability to manipulate the map view to jump to a certain object. For example, if you have one object that refers to another object, I want to have a shortcut that will take me to the other object. This is something I would like to script, and actually the API is still missing, so I will just also add a bit of script API to do this. So let's see who's interested in joining this time. Some people might have notifications on, so well, let me know if you're joining. Say hello in the chat, and let me know if you have other ideas that could be scripted. I'm just gonna implement this thing that I would like to add. So let's first have a look at the map that's using this feature of one object referring to another object, and it's a map from the Mana World, which is a game I'm used to work on. And well, I have to make sure that this compiles, of course. Yeah, because I added, I wanted to access the map view, so the map view will get a public getter for better or worse. This is the collision dock, but yeah, I'll just add it here. Oops. And add the definition of the function here. That's for the collision dock, and in the map editor I have another one called current view. There's already a current map view function here. Yeah, so that's what I can use as the read function, current map view. So in the script it will just be called the current view. There's no other view, as far as I know. So that will be fine. And then of course the view, it needs a function that I can change where it's looking at. So I made the center on function invocable, which just calls the force center on function. And actually there is already a center on function. So here I had to make sure that I call the graphics view center on to avoid that we're gonna loop between these two functions indefinitely. And then there was another use here, which I guess I just changed to this because that's what the code was doing before. But I thought this maybe should actually be force center on, but I'm not sure at the moment, so I'm not gonna change it. Okay, yeah, so now we have that function available, and we can try if that function works, right? Now it should compile, so let's check that out. No, it doesn't yet. There's still no member named view. Let's see, this is the collision dock. So I thought I added it, but I called it map view, so okay. Or we can call it map view here and here as well. But it's the view of the collision dock, which actually is a map view. Yeah. So let's see. So we have the map view here, And now we should be able to access it by going into tiles, map editor, map, or current view, right? We call this. And it doesn't work because we didn't register that class. So we go into the script manager, because that's where it has to register the meta type of all the classes that we're using. So also the map view. And then it probably has to include it as well. And we have to declare the meta type, I think. Okay, and then we compile again. Linking takes a long time. Okay, let's look at the map view. Tiled, map editor, current view. And there we have the map view, and if we switch maps, it's a different pointer, right? So each map has its own view. We can check which methods it has available, which are a lot because I exposed the entire view. So there will be a lot of stuff which you should not try to use, otherwise you will break things. But maybe there is some. I mean, I can actually call hide on this view, and now we no longer see the map. But this is not so useful. Let's show it again. It's interesting that works. But what we want to do is center on 100, 100, for example. So 200. And this appears to be not actually working. Let's see if there's an error. No. So actually it was centering on the origin. So, yeah, it doesn't take coordinates like this. I probably should change that, but now I can center on other places. So this is in pixels, that's why it's not far from the origin. This is about 10 tiles. Yeah. And let's make sure we don't need to write cute point. So we're gonna do center on int x, int y, or that doesn't need to be integers, so we accept floating points, and then we point f x, y. So this way it becomes easier to use the function from JavaScript. Yeah, that's that. What's it complaining about? So, or so either two things. So I have now done an overload, and it's no longer shadowing the other one. So I want to say probably using graphics view center on as well, to have the other overloads also available, but the Q invocable is only this version. Yeah, let's see, that should work. Yeah, compiled. Let's try if that works. No longer like this. Now I can leave this out. Yeah, that should even work with -1000 or... Now I'm far away from the map, and it works because it was actually forced center on, so it extends the scroll bar when necessary, which is a nice functionality. So using this, we could write a function to focus on the selected object, for example. Is there an object here? This is not the map. We have to let's avoid the confusion. So actually it's always a bit confusing. This is marginally darker, so it's not so clear that it's not where we currently are editing. Maybe it should be overlaid with a specific texture or something. But suppose we have this Gilbert selected here. We can center on the object, right? So let's have V be our view, and G is the current asset, selected object. No, we don't have it. It's maybe current object. No. I called it the active asset. Why? Sometimes I call things active, sometimes current. So let's check this editable map. It has selected objects, right? Not current object. So selected objects. That's this thing. So I just want the first one. Yeah. This one has X, right? So now I can do view center on GX, GY. Yeah, and it kind of centers on the object. That's very nice. So that's partly what I want to do. But let's look at this object here. There is an object there, right? So this one over here. It has it's a warp object. It has a destination map here and the name of an object in the destination map. So what I basically want to do is go take that selected object and then look at its properties. Let's scroll. Oops. That's a function, so right, so I can read out the destination map property, and then maybe I could open that file, right? So active asset file name. If I could somehow find out, yeah, so this is a bit tricky because this property is not a file property. It's actually just a string, and I would need to know that I can resolve that relative to the maps directory. So I would need to do something like file name, yeah, this doesn't have index of maps. Right. So that's the maps folder I'm looking for. But that's the index of maps, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, this, I just need to get that path, right? So the path of maps path is actually this. So assuming the active asset is this one, and I want to derive it because it would also work for others what I'm scripting, right? So yeah, and then I need to look up like what is string gonna have for me. Substyle actually. And I don't want this one starting at 0 then. Yeah. So this is the path I want to have. So maps path. Now I can go over this test map property. I could say maps path plus this, and then I still need to add tmx. So, and then I want to do tile.open file probably. Let's see if I called it that way. So script module. It has just an open function, right? So tile.open the house, and there we have our house map, which is where this here this thing was taking us. Actually, here we have the other main map, mountain watch open, so we can close this one. Right. And we open this, and then the other thing we knew is that this wants to go to exit main, which is an object in this map. It's probably at the door here. So I want to select this object and focus on it, because that's where the player would go. This is called warps. That's strange. Warps. This is the warp exit main. So I'm not sure what that is for. Name exit. Now what was I looking at just earlier? Not sure. This is a warp that goes to the main map back to exit house 9, and this is our target object for the other warp that is outside of the house. Except the warps was the layer, right? So either I could assume that it's in a warps layer, but basically I want to find this this object by its name, exit main. I have hello Tokolon. So now the script's gonna be a bit too long, so I'm gonna open the editor here. That was the thing we scripted this morning. Example tool that draws rectangle. To draw a special kind of rectangle with tiles. Now we open new file. Yeah, actually save as I want to make an example like jump to destination of follow warp. Let's call it follow warp. And I will open another action. Let's see, the checks as actions. So yeah, because here's how you register an action. Oop. And then I want to add it to the menu like this. Of course it will not be the remove unused tile sets action, but this is called the follow warp. Follow warp. Warp. The active asset has to be a tile map. The rest goes. Then selected object is map selected object 0. If not selected object, return. Can also log an error. No object selected. Well, then we do what we did here in the console. So I derive the maps path like this. Copy. The target active asset is the map. Map file name. Map index of. So for now I'm just going to assume this one worked, right? Then for destination map is actually, we did that as well here. Oops. The copy function doesn't work because there's no focus in there apparently. So actually let's use modern JavaScript. It's const. It's maps path plus the selected object property dest map plus tmx. I mean, I should probably check if it has the property or yeah. But for now we have also the destination object is the selected object property. And what was it called? This name. Yeah, because that's what we will try to find. Now we do open the destination map. And let's check. Does it return success? Yeah, it would return the new asset actually. Let's call this one destination map path. So our file, and then we just call this destination map. If not destination map, I would just report an error. Fails to open. And let's put the name in there, destination map file. Maybe that error will already be somewhere reported. That's where this action ends. Actually, we don't have semicolons in JavaScript, or don't need them. Alright. I keep writing semicolons because I'm writing C++ usually. So and now we know the destination map has has opened. Then we want to find the object, destination object name. And let's just call it destination name. So how do we do this? Essentially we need to go over all the layers in the map. I think I have still no easy way to do it, but I must have written before something like in the checks file. I'm processing the layers for map. Yeah, it's not exactly the same thing. But the thing is, I need to recurse because the map could have used find object by name. I'll call this. This is the map and it's the name. And it's a bit difficult to write this function. Or maybe it isn't. So yeah, there's this map actually, this is called thing for a reason, because it can be a map or a layer, and that has layer count, layer add. If it's a group layer, we're gonna find object by name there. So if we find an object, then we have to return it, right? And if this is not a group layer, then we're gonna actually, it could then be an object layer. Then we go over all the objects, true, and we don't care about the tile, we don't care about this. We just care if the, let's call it object. If the name of the object is the name we're searching for, then return object. Yeah. So this function goes over all the layers. If that's a group layer, it will recurse into the layer. If it's an object layer, it will go over its objects. If it matches by name, it returns that object. So, and here we just return null or something, because it's not going to work. Yeah. So we wrote find objects by name, and then we can use that here. In the destination map, we want to find the destination name. And we could report an error if we don't find this. Fails to find object with name named. Destination name. So, and if we did find the object, then we want, and actually if you open a file with tiled open, it's guaranteed to be the current file, so we just need to do tiled map editor, the current view, center on the object x, object y. And that's how the view ends up there. And actually I want to also set the selected true. I believe I have this property. Or I can go and say destination map selected objects is that object. Yeah, because I don't want other objects to be selected. So that's now available in the map menu as a follow selected warp action. And let's give it a try. We have to edit a script which is watching for changes, like this. There's our follow selected warp function, and there we go. Actually, it just works. So now I would like to have a shortcut on this. Let's say, let's not save this. Let's not close tiled, right? Just want to have a shortcut. So how did we do this? I think we had support for shortcuts somewhere. Probably just setting it. This is the action, like the name here, follow warp shortcut. Could be set to Ctrl G, which that's actually my grid shortcut. Do we have Ctrl F yet? Well, let's see. There it has Ctrl F now as a shortcut. Yeah. So this happens if we have no warp selected, do we? Right. So it wanted to read the property and it just turned it into undefined. Yeah, and in this case we want to actually say it's not a warp object or something. So and so it actually also reports an error already. Let's see if our object, editable object, has actually I'll just have this test map property. If we don't have the test map property, we say no test map property. And the same here, destination name. Well, we can just skip the part of doing all this if we don't have destination name, right? Only if we have a destination name, we will actually try to find the object and center on that object. I think I closed tiled anyway, but actually the scripts reload. Yeah, actually I'm surprised this goes so well to colon. I did need to add the center on function, but there's probably more you could do if you expose more detail, the scroll bar or something. Now it says no test map property, and if you don't have an object selected, it says no object selected. And actually these errors, because they're reported as errors, end up in the error view. Yeah, we might want to not do that here, I'm not sure. This actually does make sure that you notice something is going wrong. So I select this object to jump back, right? The other object is the warp. So now I can just go into each house, do Ctrl F, and it opens that map. I can go back using this link. So actually, yeah, control clicking would be awesome, but at the moment there would be no way to hook into that with the script, so I can't do it. Also, there's control means to snap to the grid if you're moving. Yeah. Well, I wonder if you could do it as a custom tool. Then it's not exactly the same. But if you would then switch to the tool, whatever object you click could be followed. Yeah. Work to the interior. Yeah, I think it will have to do with the shortcut. I'm not quite sure how to make it on a modifier key. Well, for now. So if you build it in tiled, yeah, the problem is with that that control is taken, right? Would be if I just would control click, it could work. At the moment that deselects the object, because yeah, actually it's used for multi-selection. So with the selection tool, there's ambiguity in what it means. And I think with most tools you'll end up with those kind of problems. Yeah. So I have another problem here. I cannot read the property is group layer of null. This is very weird actually. But that means that this one layer was null. And it's a problem that I'm running into, and I'm not sure if it's a problem with the way I'm doing it in tiled. Or for some reason it's ending up as null there. So this object is actually should be owned by the garbage collector, supposedly as soon as it's returned from the layer add, and there should be no way that it can end up being null here. But I'm not sure how it is happening. It's happening sometimes. It's returning the editable layer. Let's see if it's actually being destroyed or something. So let's log creation of editable layer. And destruction of editable layer. Might help. Let's also put the name of the layer in there. Right. Yeah. Let's see what we get if we run the tiled and run into that problem. Can we set a breakpoint on it? Don't think so. Well, we can if we set a breakpoint in queued somewhere. Actually, it's a script error that happens, so I can set a breakpoint when the error happens. Let's run it in debugger. And then I want to have a breakpoint in the issues model. When a new issue appears, so and add issue. Now it's launching. Oh yeah, some strange flickering of the window is happening on startup that I want to look into at some point. Warps are not visible. Warps. Follow. Actually, let's see if we're getting some log here. So there, it's set up editable layers. Soldier patrol waypoint warps it as it was searching for that object. Have to go through the layers. So far it's only creating editable layer objects. So this one and back outside. At some point it must be, that gate is not a warp, I think. It's a trigger. Enter this house here. So far I'm not running into that error. That's annoying because, yeah, it doesn't always happen. Maybe especially not in the debugger. So you always see that that is not. Oh look, a lot of them were destroyed now. So it ran a garbage collection cycle, I think. Now it's creating them again. But it must be sometimes destroying them too early, right? Oh well, now I'm reporting my error, right? The node has my property error. Let's make sure we don't break on that one again. It's a bit annoying that I have to always select the other object. It also tries saving the map, because then it also happens sometimes. So now, see, we sometimes see a null here, which is very strange. Actually, see, it's happening here. I'm not sure how to debug this properly. So it's creating those instances and it's destroying them here. And here it says cannot read property of null. That's just very weird. No, doesn't make any sense. Not even sure which. Is this a link to the file? That's nice. So I can jump immediately to the file where the error is reported from. So is tile layer, right? And it first logged I of layer count plus layer. It's the same strange issue where suddenly it returned a null, or something became null. If we would put the constructor and the destructor in the log, we could see which order it is happening, right? So that's the where we place those breakpoints. Editable layer, or this debug stuff. What if what if we would do the use the logging interface? So we can do an info there. Hey, I'll leren wat. So I just scripted an action, and now actually I'm just trying to debug an unrelated issue, or an issue which sometimes breaks my action. So what I did here is I made it possible to select a warp object. This goes to another map, another object, and press Ctrl F for this custom scripted action will then open the map and select the other object. So we have switched to the house 5, right? And from house 5 we can also easily go down again to the main map. And every time it will focus on the target object of the warp. Ah, hello Mr. Hyde. So this is the other action that I would like to script, which I did with a find object by name function, and then the follow warp action, which derives the path of the map, opens that map, and then sets the view to center on the object and sets the object to selected. Yeah, but then sometimes our layers are null in this check, and it happens in other scripts as well. So I'm trying to find out why that's happening. If we would just do an info here, we just lock this. So let's want it can be not in one string, so it complains. Yeah, then I still have to do this, which doesn't really help. But okay, this one and the constructor. And actually I do want a string, because I want to have the name in there. Or maybe the index, just have that. Sibling index. This should be 2, of course. And I'll do the same thing here, but this is the destructor. Oops. Alright, so now we will see in the log when those things get created and destroyed, instead of in our application output. Let's close this. Yeah, don't want that breakpoint. Sometimes I listen to music. Yeah. Maybe I should put some music on now as well. But maybe you would not understand what I'm saying anymore. I can give it a try, but the quality will be pretty bad. Unless I directly forward my audio of the system. Well, and then I'm not sure if you would like my music, so so let's see. We have, if we just save this map, there, we got all this things destroying, and we created them all on demand. Everything went fine, it seems. And I save again. There, we see a null. So before, that 0 is the set30 layer. It had to create the editable layer instance, and it returned it. And then it seems the set3 was never destroyed. There's no destructor for it. And then it wanted to reuse the instance because it didn't create a new one, but it ends up being null here. Shadow terrain, and now set fence is also no longer there. So now set fence is destroyed here. Let's look again at this code. It seems very weird. So it stops as soon as there's a null here, because that's when it runs into the error. So 0 is not printed here, but yeah. And if I save again, now set fence will be recreated. So, well, actually it still runs into a problem here. There's every time one more map which it simply fails to be returned properly. So let's have a look at that code. This is the layer editable manager. So the editable manager keeps the editable layers around, right? It has editable layer pointer. Then if it still finds an editable layer, it will reuse that pointer, right? Actually, and I don't know why that wouldn't work. Yeah, I don't have colleagues, unfortunately, and I'm working on tiles. Actually, I would love to have some people to talk with sometimes, but these are my lonely days at home. And at least I'm still working 3 days per week at Blue Byte, yeah, where I have some colleagues. So it is not going into this because it still has the editable layer. It hasn't been destroyed after all, and then returns that pointer, but somehow in the script it ends up being null. I wonder what to do about this. So we have current layers and the layer add function. And I'm pretty sure at this point we will always have the editable layer. So what we can see is it's returning now for 3 of 45, which used to be the shadow layer. And what is surprising is that when it destroyed all these things, the shadow layer was not deleted. So that's why it's not recreated. But we try to return it again and it doesn't work. And actually here we see the shadow being deleted as the first object. I mean, it's possible that I try to cache those instances, and that actually on the Qt side there is some logic which breaks this, because maybe they keep around that instance, and don't convert the pointer appropriately to but no longer convert the pointer to the right JavaScript object. Well, that is very annoying. Maybe the ownership of these objects should not be in the JavaScript engine. Now this is a problem as well. Because I don't want them to stay around longer than necessary. Well, I have to think about this. I think it doesn't make sense to keep streaming and looking into this obscure issue here. So I hope you enjoyed actually why. Okay, I have another issue. There are sometimes weird issues, so yeah, we scripted the follow selected warp action, and if I come up with another idea to script, I'll do another live stream. And right now I'm just gonna debug further in the issues, and once I have another task, maybe I will decide to stream it again. Yeah. And for now, see you next time. So what is actually the plan? I want to finish Tart 1.3. This should be soon a beta release. 2 weeks later I hope to finalize this, and then we're gonna figure out new nice improvements that should be worked on for the next release. Yeah. See you Mr. Hyde. Bye bye.